Hi, welcome to the first episode of 365 Unplugged for 2020. I am Loryan Strant, joined as always by...
I am still Alistair Pugin. I haven't changed. I don't identify as anyone else but Alistair Pugin for 2020 as well. It's the same theme I had from 2019.
Fair enough. Happy New Year to you and everybody who's watching / listening. Well, it's not exactly Happy New Year. We're a month into it, so we're a little bit behind. Let's get cracking into it. Topics, what have you got?
I would like to talk about something very sensitive and very dear to my heart. I come from a SharePoint background. I've loved SharePoint, and I hate the fact that people moving to Office 365 don't talk SharePoint.
That's right. They forget.
I want to talk about SharePoint. I don't care. I want to just talk about SharePoint. What SharePoint means to me.
Okay, and I love your passion, but we do have a democratic way of making this thing work.
Well, if SharePoint is still relevant in today's world, we have the same conversation every year, and that's really what I want to talk about.
Well, actually, I would like to talk about 2020 being a year of convergence within the Microsoft 365 platform, of which SharePoint is a fact. So if I win, we can still potentially talk about yours.
Is that like, what was that movie with Divergent? And you just said Convergent, right? What movie was it with Divergent where you could be divergent? Not Hunger Games. Was it the Hunger Games?
Oh,
so do you want a Hunger?
We're talking about convergence, though.
Same. Divergent, convergent. It sounds the same. So you want a Hunger Games this thing? All right. Well, in Hunger Games, there's a war and someone wins, and we settle that via rock paper scissors.
Yes, which is how all things should be sorted out on a global stage. So let's give it a go. So let's rock paper scissors this. Oh. 1, 2, 3. I win. I beat scissors.
What is?
Probably should do that. Scissors beats rock.
I
win.
I actually need to go to a rock paper scissors training center to figure out how this works.
Because we're up to episode like 20, 30 or something, and we're still talking about this. All right, let's give it a clock. So, hey, Cortana, set a timer for 10 minutes.
I'll start your timer for 10 minutes.
Super. Let's get into it. So 2020 convergence. My theory is that we will see a lot more services in the Microsoft 365 platform kind of mashing into each other. For starters, obviously the branding itself, we're talking about Microsoft 365 now, not Office 365 these days. What we'll see is Teams integration with SharePoint being better. We'll see, functionality from SharePoint showing up in Teams more so than it does now, and Teams respecting SharePoint more than it does now. We've seen this promised Yammer and Teams integration, so that should come this year. We're seeing features from Kaizawa go into Teams, so we'll see that stuff happen better more this year. We're seeing the branding of Office Online versus the desktop apps disappear. That's just Office now. Still don't care for it. It's Office Online. We'll see this fluid framework starting to come in now on the mobile. We have the Office app that opens PowerPoint, Word, Excel. So my prediction is that 2020, we're actually going to see a lot of these things finally coming together, where we've seen different siloed apps come up and go down. Tasks in Teams is another one. Planner and To-Do and Teams coming together. So ultimately, the user experience won't necessarily have to be which tool when. It will just be the tool. I'm not saying that in 2020 the journey is over, it's all fixed, it's all done, everything works perfectly, but more so that it's just going to come together. That's my big prediction for 2020. What about you? Tell me about your SharePoint doesn't matter and how does that fit?
No. I lost, and that's where it's at right now. And I'm not going to talk about SharePoint. I do, however, want to touch on a few things that you mentioned. Microsoft has led since 2017 the launch of Teams as Teams being the everything source. Are we still seeing that today? My question to you. I think
more so. I think we're seeing more and more things just being led as Teams first, as opposed to other things first.
And as you were saying, fluid framework, all of those things, you've had a little bit of a look under the skirt of fluid framework, because it's in preview currently. Your opinions on where Microsoft is going with that, a unified user experience?
Well, my understanding of Fluid Framework from a conversation you were at that wasn't in full detail with somebody in Microsoft was that it would replace things like Sway. No, people, this is not a Sway is dead, and no, this is not official. But
does Microsoft have a production team, a product team for Sway?
I can't answer that question. I know there are people who have Sway as part of their jobs. Yeah. But I think that's the thing is what we'll see is Fluid will come to our normal apps like your Office, your SharePoint, your Teams conversation, those kind of things. So the requirement for a Fluid experience being Sway will actually just be part of everything we do. So that's what my view of where Fluid will go. But that's the thing is, yeah, we'll see this kind of all mashed into one.
I think my prediction, I have a prediction, that when they integrate Outlook and File Explorer into Teams, we won't need a desktop.
Well, okay, hang on that point. So we can already see files in Teams. It's not File Explorer. It's more like our OneDrive file experience that shows files from SharePoint and OneDrive everywhere. So that's kind of almost an Explorer-ish replacement, not feature for feature, but as in driving you towards it. But Outlook, well, we've already kind of got some Outlook integration with Teams where we can move an email, or soon we'll be able to move an email from Teams to Outlook and vice versa, and those kind of things.
I like that. Yeah, and because of the new Fluid framework interacting, and we've seen it with Yammer, where Yammer comes through as a post inside of Yammer, Yammer comes through as a post surface inside of Teams and inside of Mail, right? So that's an actionable message.
Yes, that's true. And I think Teams is going to get the same thing as well.
Yeah, and being able to interact with an application from where you work is really the holy grail for me. It's one thing steering everyone to work with a unified front end being Teams. It's another thing also being able to take what is produced in multiple applications to where people work. So you have the same user experience. Microsoft tried that with, I think, Windows 10 when they brought out, Xbox, Windows 10, Windows Mobile, same
Windows
user experience.
Yeah.
We want a unified user experience. And I think Microsoft is slowly starting to, well, look, they've got to rewrite Teams because it's run in Electron right now.
Yes. Well, and actually, you kind of actually hit an interesting point there because, again, from a unified experience, you look at Edge. Before Edge, look at System Center and Intune are now simply Endpoint Manager. Yes, that's from a branding perspective, but the two will mash further and further together. They've already been connected. Now it's going to be further as we go along. But yeah, on Edge, I don't know if you've done it, but with Edge, you can sign into Edge with your Office 365 account and actually make your Office 365 start page your homepage in Edge. So I don't actually have to go into www.office.com to see my recent sites, documents, pinned things. I just open Edge and there it is on the home page. So I think, and again, that's another example of now the browser is surfacing my work content for me.
Microsoft was a bit rude recently.
Hang on, don't go on the Chrome thing. I think we're on the same boat with that. I think everyone's on the same page with that one, except whoever made the decision.
It's not like the EU is going to go file another antitrust.
Don't they just have an open one they just keep adding things to?
Yeah, just like it's a continual thing. So yes, it is a difficult thing. But let's not talk about it. I don't like the fact that they're pushing stuff into Chrome.
Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool.
I personally don't have an issue with it, to tell you the truth. I think working with an ecosystem that works, I mean, shit, man, you buy from Apple, that's all you get, right?
Yeah, and I understand the logic of what they're doing. It's just don't touch Chrome, it's not your product.
But look, well, I don't know what they're calling it, Edge, Chromium, Edge, Edge with Chrome, Chrome with Edge. I don't know. Look, it's great, it works, it's fast. I think they've finally got a browser that functions well. Although there are people out there that's complaining about multiple profile sync and all of that, well, then go back to Firefox and use multi-account containers, problem solved.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, I do see that there is a convergence in the force that is Microsoft, and I call it Teams, because everything is being surfaced in Teams. You are now seeing a Power Platform working better with Teams. We've seen the SharePoint framework is now the application development environment for Teams, and there's a lot going on around that. Power Platform obviously playing better with Teams.
And Power Apps will be Teams apps as well.
It's going to be called Power Teams.
Teams Power. That's a t-shirt idea.
Teams Power.
We should get like a He-Man. We're like, I have the power. And he's got like a Teams t-shirt on him or something. Because he's got like a cross or something on his t-shirt. Hoodie has like a cross, so we can replace it with a T.
Doesn't he wear that?
Yeah, the vest.
I would not be able to pull that off, dude. I
I'd
don't have the body. Yeah, not the vest.
I'd wear the t-shirt of him doing that.
So our predictions for this year is more convergence. So more integration, tighter integration, more fluid integration, and a better way of working ultimately.
Yes.
For users of M365, because we no longer talk about O365, right?
That's right. Well, you even look at like Mark Cashman's blogs. He talks about features that power M365. He's not talking about features powering SharePoint. He's talking about file experiences in M365. So we're seeing that like Microsoft Search is supposed to be unifying search across the entire platform, whether it's from Windows 10, from Bing, from various apps within the Office 365 environment. So I think that's what, as I said, I think 2020 will be the year, to be frank, shit finally happens.
I don't like that. I think a lot of times people don't realize the panel beating and the scaffolding that needs to be put into place at the back. It's like people screaming about private channels in Teams. Yeah.
No, I mean, like from a user experience, shit finally happens for them. They finally realize, oh, this is actually not all these different siloed applications I have to switch between and different experiences. It's actually all one experience between, but I can surface it here, I can surface it here, I can surface it here. It's all one. One thing that I would like to see in 2020, Outlook 2016, OneNote 2016 people. What I want to see this year, I'll get to you. Hey, Cortana, stop. My final bit. Cortana, stop. That thing will be unconverged. Is the to-do button in OneNote 2016 should actually be connected to to-do. That's, I think, is the worst hanging piece of non-convergence. So now that OneNote 2016 is finally going to have its, continue being updated, fix that, because people don't know that that's not to do.
Are they still going to call it OneNote 2016?
They haven't been clear on that, but I think what we'll probably see is it gets replaced with OneNote 2019 to fit with the rest of the MSI suite, and then OneNote Office 365.
Just give it to us. It's OneNote. It's Office Pro Plus. It's like Teams. Go download the latest Office Pro Plus. It ships with Teams. Teams doesn't have a version, so why should OneNote have a version?
Yeah, I agree. But I think that's what will probably happen now that it's live. So anyway, that's been our predictions for 2020. We'll see in 11 months from now if any of this has come true, or if we're talking about Slack, Zoom, and WebEx, Ring Central.
Ring Central. All right. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. I don't know who closes out. It's been such a long time since we've done an episode of 365U. I don't remember. Do you close? Do you go like, share, and subscribe? Or who does this?
I don't know. I don't know who closes out.
We'd have to watch an episode of 365U, a previous one, to see how all of this works.
Hang on. Let's put the viewers on hold. I'll just go fire up an episode. No, I don't know who's. But what I think we